Whoa, 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 hey, 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 hey!
What's up, guys and gals, as well as my non-binary pals, it's me, Kajes, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Round 1 box set, which will consist of Godzilla, Anguirus, Mothra, and Rodan. And so just disregard everyone else here. And unlike my other figure reviews, I'll be going fully off script because I feel like if I wrote for this video, it would take forever to get out, so let's just get straight into it. So first and foremost, let's start off with the box over here. We've got a good look at what figures we'll be seeing. Well, these aren't pictures of the figures themselves, this is more so the characters we can expect from both round 1 and round 2. I'm not sure why Manda's here because Manda's not part of round 1 or round 2, but this is still a very nice display to look at. Love the filter that they put on these characters, very nice to look at. I love the blue sky here. On the sides, you pretty much get the same thing. Same with the other side. Top of the box, the blue sky again. Godzilla Destroy All Monsters, and Ghidorah's wing extends from here to the top. Bottom of the box. Warning, choking hazard. Small parts not for children under 3 years. Ages 18 and up. So, I've got a little confession to make. I bought this set when I was 17, but I actually turned 18 this August, meaning that I'm finally allowed to have it, so that's always cool. I keep forgetting that I'm an adult now. Anyways, back of the box, we got a good look at what's in store for us. Godzilla, 2 pairs of interchangeable arms, 2 interchangeable heads, and 1 heat ray effect. Rodan includes 2 interchangeable heads. Mothra includes 1 web effect. And Anguirus includes 2 interchangeable heads. So, excellent box. It's lovely to look at. If only I had a place to display it, because my current display doesn't have a spot for it, so I'm mainly just keeping it under the desk where I record. So that takes care of it. Let's get into the good stuff. Starting with the main man himself, here's Godzilla. So let's try to run through this as quickly as I can. We've got some excellent details. It looks like it's straight out of the movie in terms of detail. I've seen some other reviews of this box set, and some had some flukes in the mold, like some excess plastic or whatever material they used. But mine doesn't seem to have any of that, and I think that's really cool. There's a scene where the jaw opens, but that's okay. So, looks straight out of the movie. If you compare it to the box and compare it to what you actually saw in the film, this looks exactly like what Godzilla should look like. Straight out of the 60s, straight out of the 70s, and I think it's an excellent figure overall in terms of detail. In terms of paint though, is where I start to have a little more gripes with this little figure. If you look on the dorsal plates, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, there is some paint chipping on like the dorsal plates, and even on the toes too. Like over here, the toenails are starting to chip away and it's starting to reveal the black underneath. Not a big fan of that, especially when it came with a stand to help prevent that. But thing is, I don't like using the stand, not only because I want Godzilla to stand on his own, but because, take a look at this. If I set him on his stand, his toenails start to touch it. So I feel like if I'm like moving him around, I feel like the toes are going to chip anyways, and I'm not a big fan of that. So I prefer not to use them in a stand, and also because in the display it takes up a lot of space. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the paint. I'd say my version of the figure is painted fairly well. I mean, it's not that hard to mess up Godzilla. Even in terms of the teeth, it's not even that bad. And the eyes, they got this figure pretty much spot on. So let's go over articulation. The head you can turn 360. Same with the arms. Not the same with the legs because it actually stops at a certain point. But that's okay because we don't need the leg to do all that anyways. Let's talk about some accessories. Let's take a look at that interchangeable head. So here's a neutral Godzilla expression. Taking a closer look at the face, you can see the teeth inside the mouth. I kind of preferred to have the mouth all the way closed because I kind of like that in terms of the design for Show Godzilla when he has his mouth all the way closed. But there's not much that I can do about that, I guess. And that is just a little nitpick of mine. You can still see the teeth, they're still painted pretty decently at that. And the eyes remain relatively the same. So let's take a look at the arms now, because Godzilla does have interchangeable arms. So let's pop this right off. I should also mention how easy these are to work with. Like you're not going to struggle when you're going to change or swap out the parts in this set. You can do it relatively easily, and that applies for the Atomic Breath too. I'm just struggling a bit because I'm on camera and I'm looking on it through my phone. So here's Godzilla's punchy arms, so he can punch. Yeah, this is really cool. And if you want to, you can just have his neutral arm expression, but if you want to display him fighting another monster, then this is where the punchy arms come in handy. And especially if you take this off and plop this in, he looks angry. And you know he's not messing around when you include the Atomic Breath. Excellent Atomic Breath piece. It's a nice translucent blue and it looks excellent with the figure. It complements it really well. And I feel like it should just be the norm for sets like this to come with accessories like the Atomic Breath. I'm not sure why SH Monsters doesn't do that for all their releases, but it's nice to see it on this figure. So I don't really have too many problems here with Godzilla. All the accessories are really nice. He's well painted, very well detailed, and has the 5 points of articulation that the box promised. So little gripes like the paint chipping is, I'd say it's probably my fault, and it certainly gets worse with the other figures. So I'd say Godzilla is the best we've got here, so I'll give Godzilla a full 10 out of 10. So let's just move on to the next figure in this set. Now moving on to the next figure, we've got Godzilla's best friend Anguirus. Now let's just get right into it. The details looks excellent. He looks pulled straight out of the movie in terms of detail. They didn't really mess up that much, except for and as much as I hate to bring it up, this horn is warped. It's facing that way when it should be just like, here, let me get the other head, the alternate head. That's how it should be facing. I'm not sure why it warped like this, but I feel like I'm definitely going to take off some points for this, because what the heck, over $100. I expect the best, and of course this isn't great to look at. And while I prefer the roaring head, sometimes I just do put on the alternate head, which has a few problems of its own. Let me explain. I'm not sure if the camera's picking all that up, but the teeth are not as well painted as Godzilla's. I mean, I know Anguirus has bigger teeth and all that, but over $100, two of these teeth are merged together for some reason in terms of paint, and that's not really a great look for this figure. And that's just talking about the face. Overall, in terms of detail, everything is fine except for the head. And in terms of the back, if you take a closer look, Anguirus spikes are not painted all the way. Like, they'll be painted on the upper halves, but lower down they won't be painted the same. Even if there is some paint on them, it's not going to be the same, and that's not very nice to look at either. I mean, you're going to be looking at it from afar anyways, but if you want to take a closer look at it, it's not going to be the prettiest to look at. And let's see the tail here. Oh boy, why is it chipping? The spikes on the tail too, and on the shell, they're not painted all the way, and that's really not a great look for this figure. So, oh my, this one's really bad. Only like the upper half is painted. What is that, bro? So, excellent detail except for the roaring head. Paint job, it could be a lot better. Let's get on to articulation so the head can rotate full 360, I'm pretty sure. Yes, there we go, that's what we like to see. Arms can move. well, not arms. Are these arms? I don't know, but they can go full 360. The legs are a bit harder to move. I don't know if they can move. Oh, they can, but you will have to apply a lot of force, which I don't want to do since Anguirus is always crawling anyways. So that's all I really have to say about Anguirus. Detail is fine, except for this. It's not like this on all of the copies, but the fact that it happened to mine is just, come on, quality control. And the paint job too, it could be better in areas, especially in the face, on the back, and on the spikes. If you look really close, and that's when you'll begin to see all the problems. Don't get me wrong, this figure is still really nice to look at. It's just when you take a closer look at everything, that's when you'll begin to see all the flaws. So for that, I will give Anguirus over here 7 out of 10. So let's just move on to the next one, and that will be Kaiju-sized turd. You know, this was one of the reasons I hesitated on getting the Destroy All Monsters set. Kind of like how with the other round 2 one, I was hesitant to get it because of Manila. This is actually not bad. I'm just not really a big fan of the design. Well, I'm just not really a big fan of Mothra larva in general. It looks like poop, and that's not even their fault. They're just being accurate to the design. And speaking of details, it's actually really nice. It looks exactly like what we saw. We've got the red eyes here, nicely applied, no flaws as far as I can tell. And it looks pretty much pulled out of the movie. Even at the bottom, if you look at the bottom, you can see all the little, I'm not sure if these are legs, but you can see all that. There's detail over here too. And unfortunately, no articulation. I mean, what else are you really gonna do with this? Everything else on the other figures are just swivels. I mean, I guess we could have had something in the head, but... Oh! We do have something in the head, okay. So we have 1 point of articulation in the head. And that's all we'll be getting, but I can't really blame them for that. This isn't SH Monstras, this isn't Uhhh Toyz, this is more supposed to be a display item. And in terms of looks, it does that excellently. Love the way the pen is applied here, love how it's not all just one solid color. They actually took the time to add some on the different sections. They took the time to add the different browns on the different sections, so once you reach a crease, it goes to the darker brown, and it's like that throughout the rest of the figure, so it doesn't look bland. And even on the face, there's different shades of brown, and that's really nice to look at. I'm glad they didn't make it all one solid color. So that's not all there is to Mothra, so let's get this web effect, because Mothra has that in the set. Again, these are really easy to work with. You will not struggle when putting this in unless you are overly forceful. So here's how she looks with it. Excellent accessory choice to make up for the lack of articulation, so she can shoot it out of her mouth. And it looks excellent when she's spraying it against another kaiju. Let's get Anguirus over here. Yeah, this is what you get for not being as good as Godzilla or Mothra. In terms of figure, I love Anguirus as a character, but this could have been way better. So yeah, Mothra looks excellent. Love the paint job. Too bad there's not too much articulation, but it's all made up for with the accessory. So I will grade it for what it is as a display item and give it the 10 out of 10 that it deserves. So let's move on to the final character of the set, which is the giant condor from Ebra Horror of the Deep. I'm just kidding, this is Rodan, and let's take a closer look at it. Detail is nice. I actually did not notice these little weird spikes that he had on his face at first, but then I started seeing it on other Showa Rodans, and I'm like, wow, did he always have this? So excellent attention to detail. It's very accurate to the design, and yeah, look at that detail. Like, you can see the creases in the wings. You can feel the texture the entire way through. And something I like about all these figures is that there's even detail at the bottom of the feet, which is, again, they did not have to do, since you're not going to see it anyways, especially if you're going to put the figures on the stands. And the thing about Rodan is you have to put him on his stand or else he's not going to stand. So like, let me show you. Are you serious? Dude, whenever I try to stand him up before, he always struggled, but now, well, I guess Rodan can't stand on his own, but it takes a while to do, from my experience. So I'm just gonna put him on a stand anyway, because we're gonna need it again soon. So yeah, excellent details, looks exactly what we saw in the movie. Even these fat little hands that he has. Not really a big fan of this, but I can't really blame Mezco Toyz because they're just trying to be accurate to design. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that. And in terms of paint, love how it's not always solid colors. It goes from the light brown and then fades to a darker brown and a more of a medium brown, and then goes to the darker progressively as you look at the wings. I love the gradient that they do. I'm glad they don't make it one solid color, which is one thing that this has above most movie monster series releases, even though this is not the movie monster series. And looking at the face, I can't really see any problems with it. The beak is painted nicely, the little spikes on his face are those his nostrils, and the eyes too, and the spikes on the back of his head, very nice. Kind of hard to see the paint on his lower beak, but that's fine, the tongue's painted, and that's all you really need. So I've heard some collectors complain about Rodan's stomach over here and how the spikes are not painted that good. He sort of has the same problem with Anguirus, in which some of the spikes are not painted all the way, like these two over here. And while it does seem a little bad to look at when you look up close, unlike Anguirus, this problem isn't as bad here, even though sometimes the paint from the spikes does tend to bleed onto the actual stomach itself. But even so, it's not as bad as Anguirus' case, so I won't remove too much points for that. So, still a really nice figure to look at. The paint on the spikes on the stomach could be better, but overall it's still really good. So, articulation, wings can do a full 360, but I'm not sure why you would want to do that. Yeah, over here too. And legs can kick back and forth. I do not want to do a full 360 with them because I don't want them to scratch against the wings and I don't want to break the figure. But just know that both of the legs can move. And so can the head. Full 360. And that's all you really need. 5 points as promised. And that's not all that Rodan comes with. The box did mention an alternate head that he has, but he also has the stand. And while you may have already seen it, you can put on this, which can allow Rodan to achieve flight. While he may look fine like this, there is a way to make him look better, so all you have to do is pop off the head over here. Very easy. And let's grab his alternative head, which is him looking up if you were to stand him up regularly. But this is actually his flying head, and when you put him on his stand like so, he will be flying, and he will know where he's going because he's not looking down. So this is excellent to look at. I love this extra accessory. That I like how it makes him look forward when he's flying. So this is specifically the flying head, and the other one is when you want to stand up normally. The thing is, with the other head, you can have it when he's flying, but this just looks a lot better, so that is always nice to look at. So, what do I think of Rodan? Excellent detail, excellent articulation. Well, the articulation that we were promised. Paint could be a teeny tiny bit better, but I love how he can fly, and I love all the accessories he comes with, so let's give him a solid 9 out of 10. Now, I won't waste too much time with size comparisons for these figures since these are not Bandai Movie Monster Series releases or Playmates. So all you really need to know if you are a collector is that they will be a little bit shorter than your average Movie Monster release or your average Playmates. So here's the Bandai Movie Monster Series Destroy reissue. And here's the Playmates Evolve Godzilla that I have. As you can see, they will stand a little bit shorter than the others. So those were all of the figures that come with the set. So what do I think about all of it? I think this set is 100% worth it if you have the money for it and you are a collector. Then I don't see why you wouldn't get this. These figures are really easy to work with in terms of their accessories. They're easy to swap out and they fulfill their purpose of being good display items very well, especially figures like Godzilla, Mothra, and Rodan. I'm not too sure about Anguirus, but most of the flaws that these figures have usually come out once you take a close look at it, which I doubt many people will. They look very excellent as display items. I have a little area in my display area completely dedicated to the Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Round 1 and Round 2 box sets. I'm just talking from my experience with this set. I've seen some other reviews to get some other insight from other collectors, and here a lot of them are not too happy with the paint quality that came with theirs or the actual detail quality that came with theirs. I've heard about them talking about some sort of excess plastic that comes with their figures, but I'm glad mine doesn't have that, and I feel like this purchase was definitely worth it. So Godzilla was 10 out of 10, Mothra also 10 out of 10, Anguirus 7 out of 10, and Rodan 9 out of 10. So in total, that leads us to 36 out of 40, which, do the math, that will result in a final verdict of 9 out of 10 for this box set. So that concludes my review of this box set. If you enjoyed it, then be sure to hit the like button. And if you know a Godzilla fan who's into collecting, then maybe send this video to them. And I'd also like to hear what you think about this set. If you have this set, then what's your experience with it? And what scoring do you think it deserves? Because, of course, I'm talking from my own experience, but I'd like to hear some insight from other collectors as well. So if you have some opinions that you'd like to share, then be sure to share them in the comments, because I do read them and I do love to hear what other people think about these figures. And if it's your first time here, then be sure to check out some of my other content. I have 2 other figure reviews on my channel, one of the original Bandai Movie Monster Series Godzilla 2004, and one of the Playmate Scar King figure from Godzilla X Kong. And if you like what you see enough, maybe you could subscribe. It would seriously mean a lot and would seriously help out. If you hit the bell, then you'll also be notified when I post more videos just like this. And one more thing, I'm also on more social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, so the links to those will be in the description. And I guess that covers it, so thanks for watching, and I'll... Oh, what the heck? Oh god.
Ready for another round?
Well, sorry XE, but I already have other plans for the next figure review, and that is going to be the Ultraman SH Figuarts figure, best selection. So yeah, here's our next figure review. That's already settled for me, and I guess that covers it. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later, kaiju fans. Stop.